There are many planets in the universe that scientists believe could support life, but this one is probably not one of them. What if you lived on a planet where it rained glass sideways at 9 kilometers per hour? Would you survive? Let's find out. Well, first off, let's imagine that you live on a faraway planet. After all, it's just glass. But trust me, this is no ordinary rain. As the glass comes down, it would feel like a million tiny needles pricking your skin. And if you were outside without shelter, you would quickly become a human kebab. Imagine you're lounging in your backyard, enjoying the warm summer sun when suddenly the sky darkens and the wind picks up. You look up and see something that you have never seen before, or maybe ever will again. But instead of liquid water droplets, tiny crystals of ice form. In 2015, for example, residents of the Scottish city of Glasgow were stunned when thousands of small glass spheres fell from the sky. And in 2013, a similar event occurred in the English city of Norwich. These crystals are made of silica, the same material that glass is made of. And when they get too heavy, they fall to the ground as glass rain. Huge chunks of ice-cold glass are falling from the sky. It looks like a winter wonderland gone wrong. Now that you know how it feels to experience glass rain and the science behind it, it's time to find out whether life could actually survive on a planet like this. And sand is one of the most abundant substances on Earth. In fact, there is enough silicon dioxide in the Earth's crust to cover the entire planet in a layer of glass over to 140 meters thick. So it's a pretty durable material. And while it's about the same size as our planet, it's more than 7 times as massive. What's really strange, though, is that WASP-39b has a thick atmosphere that contains a lot of water vapor. On a planet where it rains glass sideways at 9 kilometers per hour, the atmosphere must be incredibly dense, and the gravity must be much stronger than the Earth's gravity. This is because the bonds between the silicon and oxygen atoms need to be broken in order for the glass to melt, and that requires a lot of heat. Or you could turn back to the churning, frothing sea and watch as the glass shards danced and swirled in the waves. Not to mention that the air would be filled with sharp shards of glass, making it impossible to breathe without getting cut to pieces. The crushing weight of the atmosphere and the burning hot temperatures would eventually get you. But for a few precious moments, you could stand on that shore and marvel at the terrifying beauty of a world where it rains glass sideways. Otherwise, the glass wouldn't be able to fall at such a speed without breaking apart. Scientists believe that this water vapor condenses into clouds just like it does on Earth. Any creature that did manage to survive the glass rain would quickly be crushed by the atmospheric pressure or boiled alive by the intense heat. We've talked about how terrible it would be to live on a planet where it rains glass sideways. But there's no denying that it would also be absolutely beautiful. But because WASP-39b has such a strong gravitational pull, the clouds are crushed together and forced to rain sideways at incredible speeds. This planet has an atmosphere just like Earth's, but with one very strange difference. The sky would be dark and stormy, lit only by the flashes of lightning that illuminate the sharp shards of glass falling from above. The wind would be cold and biting, but the beauty of the scene would be breathtaking. Glass rain is a rare occurrence, and it usually only lasts for a few hours at most. What if we told you that there was a planet out there where it literally rains glass sideways? You might think that we're making this up, but we're serious. You see, WASP-39b has a very strong magnetic field which funnels charged particles from the Sun onto the planet's surface. These particles then generate radio waves that we can detect here on Earth. By studying these radio waves, scientists have been able to learn a lot about the atmosphere of WASP-39b. They've also been able to hear the glass rain for themselves. In fact, scientists believe that this strange phenomenon actually occurs on a planet called WASP-39b. Plus, the glass shards are pretty small, so they're more of a nuisance than a danger. Still, it's definitely a sight to behold. So if you ever find yourself caught in a glass rain, make sure to take lots of pictures. Every year, massive amounts of rain fall from its skies, only instead of water, it's glass. And this glass doesn't come down vertically like normal rain. No, it's sideways at an alarming speed of 9 kilometers per hour. What if you lived on a planet with sideways glass rain? Do you want to know what it would feel like? At first, you might think that this wouldn't be too bad. But let's say you were prepared and had a shelter. Then what? Well, that wouldn't help much either, because the glass is so thick that it would eventually collapse. Your shelter, burying you under tons of glass. Yeah, it's hot enough to melt your entire city in just a few minutes. Instead, they shatter into countless pieces, creating a dangerous, slippery surface. The air grows colder by the second, and soon the entire ground is covered in a thick layer of glass. You shiver and realize that you're in the middle of a glass storm. And even if somehow you managed to survive all this, you wouldn't last long. See, the glass rain is so acidic that it would dissolve your clothes and skin, turning you into a pile of goo. So let's just say that this planet is not the best place to live, especially when you consider that the average temperature here is 1,000 degrees Celsius. Witness the strangest weather, glass rain from the skies. As these shards hit the ground, they don't melt away into puddles. But how did this happen? Scientists believe that this strange weather phenomenon occurs when water vapor in the atmosphere reaches its dew point, just like it does when it rains. This may sound like a terrifying disaster movie plot, but it's actually a real phenomenon that has been witnessed several times throughout history. But don't worry, you're probably safe. Exploring a planet where it rains glass, the science behind it. WASP-39b is a gas giant located around 700 light-years away from Earth. But what's really cool is that scientists think they can actually hear this glass rain. Could life survive on a planet that rains glass? Discover the truth. First things first. Let's address the obvious. Glass is made of silicon dioxide, the same stuff that makes up sand. However, it's also very brittle and breaks easily when it's hit with enough force. Unfortunately, this means that any creature that tried to walk around on the surface of such a planet would be utterly crushed by the sheer weight of the atmosphere. In addition to all that, the temperature on such a planet would have to be incredibly high in order for the glass to rain. In the first place, all of this is to say that there is no way that life could evolve on a planet like this. The terrifying beauty of a planet where glass rains sideways. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast, glassy ocean on a world where it rains glass sideways. You could look out over the glassy expanse and see the shards of glass sparkling in the dim light, reflecting the flashes of lightning like a million tiny mirrors. But don't get too comfortable. You wouldn't survive long.